Mercia had paused, and Ramsay realized he was expected to contribute to the conversation. "Truth be told," he admitted, "things are getting a bit too familiar around here. The same old taverns, stories I can parrot word for word, finding a way through the shroud. Now, that'd be an adventure to stick in the mind. Think you're man enough for the job?" He had chosen these words deliberately, and Mercia's eyes flashed in provocation. "We'll need charts," Mercia shot back with no hesitation. "Calendars, too. There's a shop in town that has some I've had my eye on. Smaller craft to use as scouts. Oh, and a ship, of course. She'll have to be swift and nimble, but tough." "I don't understand half of what you've told me tonight," Ramsay admitted with a toothy smile. "But rest assured, I know what makes a fine ship. You'll be aboard her when we sail?" Mercia smiled back for the first time. "Just you try leaving without me." They'd had the Magpie's wing built in secret, a craft tiny enough to thread its way through those twisting roots, where a ship might sail in safety. Together, Ramsay, Mercia, Shan, and Rathbone had stuffed the hold with floats and coracles to send out ahead, and stout wooden planks to patch up any damage they might take on their journey. They packed their provisions and made their final preparations until eventually there were no more reasons to delay. All that remained was Ramsay's choice: to stay at home with his family or sail headlong into the unknown and be the first man alive to see beyond the devil's shroud. The call of the sea claimed him, as it always did, and perhaps as it always would. The course they plotted was contorted, and the ship was forced to travel at a veritable snail's pace. Finally, after days of inching their way through the stifling fog, starved of both food and sleep, they emerged into chaos. The shroud had released its grip on Ramsay and his crew, only to spit them into the heart of a massive storm. With no idea of where land might lie, and no possibility of reversing course, they had no choice but to press on into the downpour. Another bolt of lightning, this one much closer, snapped Ramsay out of his reverie. They'd been lucky so far, able to angle through the waves without broaching, and taking only minor damage to the hull. But their good fortune would only last so long. The Magpie's wing needed shelter soon. Feeling a tug at his shoulder, Ramsay whipped around to find Shan at his side. Even though the man was clearly bellowing, Ramsay had to bring their heads practically together to hear what he was trying to say. "Lamb? Land!" Shan shouted again. Eyes widening, Ramsay gestured impatiently and followed Shan's outstretched finger. There was something there, all right. A dark and craggy silhouette that he could barely pick out against the backdrop of the raging monsoon. The ship gave a protesting creak as its captain spun the wheel once more, angling the bow toward the distant rock face. Shan picked his way down to where Rathbone and Mercia, both sodden and exhausted, were still fighting to capture the wild wind within the sails. Rathbone in particular seemed dead on his feet, despite being the brawniest of the three, and he gratefully relinquished his position to Shan. "Never thought I'd be glad to accept bailing duty," he barked over the cacophony, but he had barely filled a bucket before he paused to stare, mortified at the horizon. "Ramsay has seen those cliffs we're heading toward, hasn't he? The cliffs that no one in their right mind would take us anywhere near."